So as many of you know, we got this footage released. I think it's very important. It shows that the Q Shaman, actually, let me see if I can just pull up the video footage. I know we showed it last night, but for those that missed it, I want you all to see this so you can show your friends and your family, the people who don't believe you, the Q Shaman being escorted by police through the building who make no attempt whatsoever to stop him. And not only do they make no attempt to stop him, they actually try to open doors for him. How are you going to charge someone with unlawful entry or trespassing or parading or whatever when you're escorting him through the building and opening doors? Well, look at this. Here he is walking through a mob of police officers who don't care at all. Literally don't care. Here we go. Right this way, sir. Here you are. And then sure enough, when he goes in, he says, thank you to the Heavenly Father for taking the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us into the building. There you go. There it is.
Down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us into the building.
To allow us into the building. Yo, they let these people in the building. And Mitch McConnell, he's mad. It was a mistake the American people get to see this footage of the Capitol Police helping these people. He says it's completely at variance with what the police had said. Maybe the police were lying because if you really want to believe the insurrection narrative, they were in on it. That's what AOC thinks.
Whoa.
Yeah, inside job. I tweeted J6 was an inside job and the left got real mad at me. But pick one.
Did you get kicked off Twitter?
No.
Ooh.
But maybe... Yeah, look, I'll say this to liberals, the Democrats. You got to pick one. Either the police let these people in and there was no insurrection, or the Capitol Police were a part of the insurrection and were in on it the whole time.
Can I just tell you one thing that people might get ticked off at? I'm glad that the videotape footage is getting out there, but I don't think it's the consequential piece of evidence that we need to see right now from the FBI to DOJ to answer the question you posed.
You mean the consequential? Or you don't think it's consequential at all?
To answer the consequential question of whether or not that you just posed. I think as a former federal prosecutor and a public defender who defended a lot of these types of cases, what you need to show is whether or not the FBI and government agents were using undercover operatives and informants on the day of January 6th. Because if you can show that, you know they've been out. Hang on. But the paperwork shows having run informants, that's a 6-month buildup. Minimum.
Right.
Minimum. It's not like they just dropped them into the Proud Boys and said, hey, go, don't disrupt, please. So once you prove that, then you defeat the insurrection narrative with the FBI's own documentation. Forget what the videotape shows.
Just for people who you can't see what's going on in the room, the reason why Cash just said hang on or whatever is because I started smirking and rolling my eyes. And what I meant to convey with that is, come on, we know they were involved.
No, look, I totally
clarify,
agree.
Though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know definitively. What I'm saying is a reasonable suspicion is that there were agents. There's a video showing a guy with an earpiece pulling people into the building. All right. You combine that with the evidence of Ray Epps, and it looks like you have a preponderance of evidence suggesting there may have been federal law enforcement involved in making that thing happen.
I'll get you beyond a reasonable doubt.
All
Two
right.
pieces of information. Ray Epps was on FBI's most wanted list one day, and the next day he was off of the FBI's most wanted list. There are only two ways that happens. You die or your informant. Put that aside. Under congressional testimony, Jill Sanborn, who I used to work with, the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, in charge of all these investigations, testified under oath when Senator Cruz asked her, flat out, were there federal agents involved with January 6th? And she said, quote, Senator, I can't answer that at this time. Not if the answer was definitively no, having been a DOJ FBI guy myself, she would have gone there and said, nope, absolutely not. The reason she said I can't answer that is because of the same stonewalling they gave us during Russiagate with Christopher Steele, Halper, and everybody else. It's the same narrative, and I'm telling you they were there.
So you're saying that she said I can't answer that because the answer is yes, and that would compromise whatever their operation was.
Exactly.
I mean, what's the argument they make that she just didn't know and she didn't want to say yes or no definitively?
There is no way the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, the number 3 ranking person at the FBI, who is in charge of the January 6th investigations, did not know the answer to that. It is not possible.
Sounds like the answer is yes. Matt Gaetz came out over a year ago saying that there was, I think that there was evidence of federal involvement, I believe.
Now, here's the other thing. Just follow the money. Everybody wants to know about all the spycraft and all the cool stuff. You know what the FBI has to do to these informants? Pay them. You know what that requires? A bank. Go find out. It's what we did with Steele, right? And I got tortured for it. I went to Paul Ryan and said, give me this one subpoena, and if I'm wrong, you can fire me. And he basically tried to fire me anyway.
Wow.
But then I went in and got the FBI records and the bank that paid him. And then the floodgates opened. Game over. They said, there's no way we used informants to investigate the FISA and Donald Trump and all this crap. Well, if they did it then, are you telling me they really didn't do it now?